I'm Jason Gorber from That Shelf. I'm here at the Debussy Theater at the Cannes International Film Festival. Try to make you guys not too nauseous. But just going to try one of these. Let's talk about Annette. So last night was the opening film, technically the real opening film, as part of the opening ceremony, Annette by Leos Carax. The opener, pre-opener, was actually another chapter of the story of film by Mark Cousins, and so I'll be doing another video about that. Please subscribe, please follow us on social media and all that stuff. I got to put it in there. But here at the Debussy for another screening. As you can see behind me, most people are masked. I'm sort of facing the stage here, nobody's in front of me, so COVID protocol has been really interesting. But let's actually talk about the film. So Annette is a story written by, music by the band Sparks, a band that I admittedly had never really heard of before Edgar Wright's documentary, before it was announced. And then I'm like, who is this band that, as we talked about, apparently both me and Ryan Johnson had the same sort of notion, that's like Zelig. Like, this band has just been there everywhere, and all the bands that I loved really responded to them. And for me, they were just completely absent from any of sort of my my musical journey. Nonetheless, they're very, in Europe and particularly in Los Angeles, many people are big fans of the sort of their sort of synth pop and their glam stuff. I mean, I'd seen the Paul McCartney video where he's dressed as a guy that looks like Hitler, and I didn't realize what the reference was to. Nonetheless, people who are big fans of Sparks are super excited about this. People who are big fans of Leos Carax are super excited about this. This is a film, his first feature since Holy Motors, which a lot of people completely adore. And here it was, the opening film from Cannes, which is always a mixed blessing. The opener is sometimes really great, and sometimes we get Grace of Monaco. So it all depends on what you get. And I think it's fair to say that something like Annette is going to divide audiences, but that's absolutely no surprise. Between Carax and Sparks, you're never going to have somebody who absolutely loves everything. But what I would say is that it's a 2-hour, 20-minute film, and I absolutely loved 20 minutes of it, and 2 hours of it for me was not for me at all. The same thing to do with Sparks music. I think that when they truly embraced it being a musical, breaking the fourth wall, singing directly, having Cotillard and Adam Driver singing direct to camera, basically, rather than doing some pre-record stuff, it really felt engaging. I really felt that I was seeing something special. But when it sort of becomes what it is, which is this sort of very dreary and bleak love story, and then the story of a child, and then all kinds of violence, there's a Me Too song, it just becomes a little bit inane. And especially the music itself, unfortunately, doesn't really work. It's so repetitive, especially lyrically, that it doesn't necessarily work as in the form of musical. It's not, the music's not driving narrative, and the narrative's not driving the music. And just it feels a little bit haphazard, a little bit like, despite the fact that they're trying to draw from somebody like Sondheim, it's not successful. When those moments happen, again, when you get those moments that absolutely echo the likes of Ken Russell's Tommy, I loved it. It's not that I didn't love how weird it was, it's that I love in some ways it didn't go weird enough, and it overstayed its welcome so much. Look, there are certain key scenes that people are going to absolutely go ape for. Slight pun, inadvertent pun. Adam Driver plays a stand-up comedian that goes by the name Ape of God. Marion Cotillard is this famous opera singer named Anne. The two of them have a daughter named Annette, the titular character, who is basically this doll, this puppeteered doll. So you have this strange sense of surrealism, this almost Pinocchio stuff, with domestic violence added in, with weird sort of cold love story sort of taking place, but more importantly for me, just doesn't really gel. You never really feel the connection between the two of them. There's a coldness between the two of them, which I think is on purpose, but again, the music doesn't lift. You never have those real moments of true connection between song, lyric, and the visual that truly shine, except for those opening and closing sequences. That being said, you have full commitment. Cotillard is always really great, but Adam Driver is such a treasure, and he gives everything in this movie. He is doing everything he can to wring every amount of both pathos, anger, depression, everything plays here. So as a performance, it's remarkable to see, and the film is absolutely worth seeing just to watch the treasure that it is Adam Driver. a bunch of other sort of key supporting characters, some visual sort of interesting elements that took place as the music kicks in. But overall, in the end, for me, it just didn't work, unfortunately. So Annette, I recommend you actually go see it. I recommend that you actually take a chance on it. It's certainly not going to be for everyone, but I believe it's a film that will actually, in some ways, captivate, in some ways frustrate, and in some ways totally have you engaged. And what better way of actually having something that has to do with Sparks and Leos Carax. There will be people, this will be their favorite film of all time. There will be people who shut off with 20 minutes. I recommend you give it a shot, stick with it. It may not be something you totally love, but it'll certainly be something that you absolutely will enjoy that you experienced. And for those moments, especially at the beginning and the end, that are absolutely truly shine, I think it's something for you. For thatshelf.com, I'm Jason Gorber. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please support us on social media, and we will see you next video. All the best. Take care.